Was funny last time I saw his act when we were in Israel, but he was funny as a kid. He was funny at every level. He's one of the funniest people I know, and not only that, just truly a wonderful person, so dedicated to his Jewish community, and it is really a pleasure and honor to be here. The only issue when I Facebooked him earlier was that he wasn't able to come in person. We understand why, but he really is a tremendous individual. Since making Aliyah in 2006, comedian Benji Lovett has performed for audiences around the world, including federations, birthrights, synagogues, and more. His perspectives have been featured on Israeli television and radio, and in outlets such as USA Today, Time Magazine, BBC Radio, The Atlantic, and the Times of Israel. Benji has worked as a cross-cultural trainer with Israel's Ministry of Foreign Affairs, and during 2014's Operation Protective Edge, his humorous observations on the war led to his being called in Israel the only reason to go onto Facebook. Ladies and gentlemen, please welcome Benji Lovett.
Thank you. Thank you. I can't see anyone. Rabbi, it's just you and me here, I assume, private show. Thank you very much, Rabbi. My name is Benji Lovett. It is so great to be with you live from Ted Wright Stadium. Yeah, don't be fooled. This is a virtual background of a dirty kitchen. So it is just after 8 p.m. on the East Coast. It is just after 3 a.m. here in Israel. That's right. I'm in the future. Don't get excited. It's not that different here. You'll see. So this is my first show since the high holidays with an American group online. And I'm so excited to be with you here, not in person, but, at all. Like Rabbi Haas said, I've known him since I was a kid, and he was a slightly older kid. It was just a few years ago, we brought a group to Israel. I met some of you guys. Everyone was so warm and lovely. I know you have a wonderful community. I can honestly say, with no exaggeration, if not for all of you, I would be sleeping. And I mean that, you guys, from the bottom of my heart. So welcome to Online Stand-Up. I got to tell you, it's pretty weird. The communication's one way. I can't see a smile. I get very little positive feedback. Reminds me of my childhood. Mom, I'm joking. Yeah, I shouldn't make fun of my mom because my checks are sent to her house. So I've been doing these for about a year and a half now. It's weird, but this is the world we live in now. As we Jews say, we have to laugh to keep from crying. We've had a lot to cry about, but it is our sense of humor. It has sustained us through thousands of years, that and Shabbat and all that other stuff. But we got to laugh. And guys, I had a show last week online that, as the kids say, broke the internet. Well, my router stopped working, but same thing, really, same thing. But in the show I did, they marketed me as international comedian. Benji Lovett, international comedian, which sounds impressive, but it doesn't actually tell you if I'm any good or not. Hey, is he funny? Who cares? He's got a passport. That's really all that matters. So during normal times, I do stand-up comedy about life in Israel. I travel around the world to the States to make people connect to this crazy and magical place that I live in. One of my last shows before this whole pandemic hit was for Chabad of Atlanta. Everybody knows Chabad. You guys know Atlanta. Go Braves. Are you Braves fans? I think I heard clapping. Chabad of Atlanta. So I'm on the airplane, traveling there. I've got my computer in front of me with the flyer up on the screen. Non-Jewish woman sitting next to me, looks at the computer, looks at me, and says, "Now I've lived in Georgia for 35 years. I've never heard of a comedy club called Chabad. Is it funny?" Like, not to you, it's not. And to be fair, it's Chabad of Atlanta, just so you know. I had a show for the Jewish community of Grand Rapids, Michigan. All right. What famous person was from Grand Rapids? Maybe you're answering, I don't know, former President Gerald Ford. I didn't know that. So before the show, I decided to go to the Presidential Museum. This is after Watergate, after Nixon. I see the video clip of the very famous speech where he looked at the American people and said, "Our long national nightmare is over," which is what we say in Israel after a week of Passover. It is not an easy week. I had such a weird job. I perform in cities I'd never heard of before. True story. I had a show in a city in northern Israel, very new city, called Harish. Never heard of it. Well, I want to do my research. So I know someone who knows someone who lives in Harish. So I sent the guy a text message before the show to get some questions answered. "Hey, can you help me with Harish?" I didn't notice it autocorrected to Hashish. He's like, "I don't do that anymore, block number." I had to show, guys, when I perform in Israel, I don't know who's in, first of all, how difficult is this? I can't see anyone. I can barely hear you. But I've lived in Israel 15 years. I can survive anything. When I perform live here, I don't know who's going to be in my crowd. I could have immigrants from the States, Canada, South Africa, Australia, Ethiopia, Russia, native Israelis. I did a show recently. A friend of mine from South America comes up to me after the show and says, "Benji, you always talk about how you're American. America this, America that, because you're from North America. Do you ever think about the fact there are many kinds of Americans? Like you're North American, but I'm South American, and he's Latin American, and she's Central American. You see what I'm getting at here?" I'm like, "You know what? I never thought of that. From now on, I will be more inclusive." Well, later on, we are watching the news, and the supreme leader of Iran is screaming at the TV, "Death to America! Death to America!" I look at my friend, I'm like, "Victor, can you believe he said that about us?" He's like, "I'm Colombian." You're on your own, gringo. I'm a gringo American. See, that's a joke that Israelis love because they know we have to laugh at our ridiculous situation. Here's another one that Israelis laugh at every time. Again, last week, watching the news, and I see a leader of Hamas threaten to level Tel Aviv, just to flatten Tel Aviv. And I say, go for it. If that's what it takes to rebuild my apartment, let the jihad begin. I would like a new balcony. Because we have to laugh. What a year and a half it's been. I knew it was going to be tough. March of 2020, at the very beginning, I was in the States. I was touring. I had to cancel my tour, come back to Israel as fast as I could. And the minute I landed at Ben Gurion Airport, security looked at me and said, "From now on, you must keep a distance of 2 meters." And all I could think was, oh my God, now I have to learn the metric system. I'm going to die because I'm American. It's a year and a half into this. Can we stop calling this the new normal? It's the new normal. Zoom and school, really? The new normal? I'm eating ice cream out of the container until 3 a.m. I'm watching Netflix all night. I'm 47 and single. It feels like the old normal, doesn't it? New normal, old normal, what's the difference? March 2020, I went straight into quarantine after coming back from the States 2 weeks in this apartment. Actually, not even this apartment, my old apartment. Couldn't leave, couldn't see anyone. Thank goodness for my warm Israeli neighbors. It's like a family here. People I'd never met, bringing me groceries. But, we say Polish. I'm a very nervous, guilty American Jew. I don't want to bother anybody. I feel guilty. So my food supply is running low. On day 12, 13, 14, I felt like I was back in college. I'm like, all right, what do we got here? All right, butter, a tomato, and hummus. That's a meal. I can do this. Yeah. But this was my whole life. Zoom, phone calls. I couldn't see anyone. I was talking to one friend. I'm like, listen, man, I got to go. I've got to go to the bathroom. He's like, whoa, Benji, that is too much information. I'm like, really? Because that's the only place I can go. That's the only information. But this is a miracle. I mean, Zoom is here to stay. We've taken some things from this. Like, I don't know what you guys did this year, but at least last year, did you have the Zoom Seder? Clap your hands if you had a Zoom Seder. Clap your hands if you enjoyed the Zoom Seder. I didn't hear clapping. I'm not going to say I like the Zoom Seder. I'm going to say I loved the Zoom Seder. Yeah, because the Zoom Seder is great for the person who wants to feel Jewish, but likes going to sleep before 2:00 in the morning. Oh, Mom, listen, I want to read the whole Haggadah, but I only have the free account, 40 minutes max. If you wanted me to afford the pro account, you should have sent me to Jewish day school for a good education, but we can't all be the wise son. Did you guys do like the high holidays online, like streaming tefillah? Here's the thing about online services. Oh, for Rabbi Haas, and the rabbis. You see, I like tefillot. I went to summer camp growing up. I like prayer services, but here's the thing. You got to switch it up. Because the first time I watch it, it's okay. But the next time I watch it, I just feel like it's the most boring rerun I've ever seen. I'm like, Rabbi, switch it up. Like, give me a cliffhanger. I should be able to call my friend and be like, dude, did you see Shacharit this morning? It was unbelievable. This week, they did the Shema after Adon Olam. Who saw that coming? Yeah. But, I just wonder if this whole year was a dream. Earlier this summer in Israel, we had tensions in Jerusalem, war with Gaza, coalition drama. Today at lunch, I waited 20 minutes to get a menu. Back to normal. What a stressful year. I mean, America, we had an election. Don't worry, not getting political, but I'm an expat. Of course I'm going to vote here, absentee. But I got to tell you, it is so confusing being abroad because you look online and America has 50 states with 50 sets of rules. And it's so confusing because this state does mail-in, this state does email, this one does fax. Like, I don't have time to figure this out. I need to know my vote is going to count. And that is why on election day, I went right to Jerusalem and I put my ballot in the kotel. Because I know it's going to get there. DC was totally, I'm watching CNN every night. DC was totally shut down. When Israelis heard the National Mall was closed, we thought our cousins lost their jobs selling Dead Sea products. But, it took a week. It took a week to count all the ballots. And I get it. There's a pandemic. But I will say, we would never do that here. We would never take such a long time to count all the ballots. It's easier just to have another election. And we did. Another election. We had 4 elections in 2 years. Again, we have to laugh or we would go crazy. But our elections are very different from yours. For example, you would never hear anyone say, if Bibi wins again, so help me God, I'm moving to Lebanon. I'll do it. Yeah. One good thing about this pandemic, I've gotten a break from the stress of dating, because being single at this age, it's terrible. The most, well, I'm not going to ask you, but we'll make it rhetorically because I can't hear you. But what is the most embarrassing part about being single in your 40s? Without question, It's filling out a form and listing my mother as my emergency contact. Thank you, Delta. Like I know they're looking out for me, but they're just rubbing it in. But because my mother's the emergency contact, they don't need to contact her because she's tracking the plane live as we speak. I mean, I could list a friend like Rabbi Haas, but that's a lot of pressure to put on someone. It's one thing to ask someone to help you move a couch. It's another to say, if I die, can you tell my mother? I once asked a friend who knows my mother. He said, I'd rather help you move a couch. The high holidays ended just a few weeks ago. And, the high holidays are special, but it's just so very different here. Jewish identity is completely different in Israel. When I was living in America, I thought being Jewish was a religion, which it is, but here it's a religion, it's a people, a nation, a language, a culture. Guys, how weird is it that we grow up saying prayers in a language we don't even understand? I will never forget the first time my Hebrew was good enough to know what I was saying. I'm at a Shabbat dinner in Tel Aviv at a friend's house, totally secular, Israeli. We do the hamotzi like I've done a million times in my bad American accent, hamotzi lechem min haaretz, and suddenly it hits me. I'm like, oh my God, hamotzi lechem min haaretz, to take the bread from the land. I look at my friend and say, this is amazing. You guys actually understand all this? He's like, yes, but who cares? So Israeli. Guys, Yom Kippur, the holiest day of the year. What do you do in America? You fast, you go to synagogue. What do many people do in Tel Aviv? Ride their bikes, go to the beach. I'm walking to synagogue. I'm passing women in the other direction, their bathing suits. You ever try to repent while you're having sinful thoughts? I'm doing that confession prayer in the sanctuary. Ashamu, God knew. She's really hot. I'm going to hell. I need a mechitza, separation. And every year during the high holidays, I think about how the Arabs attacked Israel on Yom Kippur 1973. Some of you remember. I feel like they picked a bad day. I mean, they tried to catch us by surprise. And that's the day they picked. On Yom Kippur, we're fasting. When I'm missing one meal, I want to shoot somebody. If you're going to pick a Chag to attack the Jewish people, why not Purim? Could you drive a tank drunk? Because Israelis can't drive cars sober. You can't fight a war in Purim. Try running through a field with a machine gun dressed as a nurse. I mean, I'm just saying. Passover. What is the biggest difference between Passover in Israel and abroad? I don't know if you know this. In Israel, we only have one Seder. I always did two in America. If you ever have the chance to tell an Israeli who doesn't know we have two Seders abroad, you must do it just to watch their heads explode. They think it's insane. You might as well tell them that in your country you have two circumcisions. But of course, we are the home to three religions: Judaism, Islam, Christianity, and it's great here in Jerusalem. Whatever religion you are, but I gotta say, I can't imagine celebrating, for example, Christmas here, because first of all, we have no chimneys. So I don't know how you're getting your gifts. Certainly not through the postal service. I gotta think, the second Santa Claus gets into Israeli airspace, he would get shot down by the Iron Dome. But aside from a lot of new material, probably the best thing to come from this year is I'm the owner of a brand new puppy, which is very exciting. And I know it's the most cliche thing ever, a pandemic puppy, but I don't know how to say sourdough in Hebrew. So it was one or the other. I am admit I'm having second thoughts because you don't have to walk sourdough at 3 a.m. But it's been really tough. He's right next to me. He should be sleeping. He's right here. But at the shelter when I got him, they said Benji, puppies are really difficult. It's like having a baby. Now, I've never had a baby. Do babies chew USB cables? Do they attack the neighbor's baby? Yeah. I would say he's really more like a teenager because we go to dog parks all the time. Very Tel Aviv thing to do. And the minute we get there, he doesn't want to associate with me in public. Like a teenager, we walk in, he's like, please don't embarrass me again. These are my friends. Can I please sniff their butts just one time without you? Yeah. And they say eventually the dog and the owner start to look alike. I don't know if that's true or not, but he's developing male pattern baldness. So I guess it's, I just had no idea how hard it would be. I have an Israeli trainer and I'm always complaining. I'm like, he won't listen to me. This is so difficult. She says, Benji, don't worry. It will get easier. You just have to learn to speak his language. I'm like, speak his language? I can't even speak yours. And I'm supposed to show the dog I'm the alpha. Look at me. Do I look like an alpha? My friends are like, Benji, does the dog sleep in your bed? I'm like, yes, without me. Last weekend I went out, he changed the locks. I'm watching YouTube videos from American trainers. That doesn't work here. One of them is like, to teach the dog his name, go to the other side of your home and call him. I'm like, other side of my home? Where do you think I live? I'm in Tel Aviv, other side of my home. I'm in the same room. Yeah, my dog knows how to stay because there's nowhere to go. I'm jealous. He's got a great life. Every time he does something right, he gets a treat. Sit, treat. Stay, treat. Poop, treat. Of course he's going to learn. If my Hebrew teacher taught that way, I would have been fluent in a week. Nachon Benji, yele tov. Kach bamba. And I don't know when that whole shake magnet thing begins. I think I'm using the wrong end of the magnet. If you laughed at that, congratulations, you passed high school science. I mean, I am meeting women, but at the dog park. But the thing is, Hebrew is a gendered language. Everything is masculine or feminine. So, whenever you speak to any dog to give a command, you have to know what its gender is, which means inevitably, I spend a lot of time bent over looking at dog genitals, which is a strange way to start any conversation with an owner. It's like, so Rinat, how long have you been in this country? Okay. But the reason I'm having so much difficulty with my dog, I found out, is because my trainer said he's Kanaani. It's like Canaan, the land of Canaan, that God promised the Jews. So Kanaani, if you don't know it, it is a Middle Eastern dog. It's from the desert. It's like a shepherd dog. It doesn't belong in the city. And she tells me that Kanaani is known for being stubborn, aggressive, and territorial. I'm like, let me get this straight. The Israeli dog is stubborn, aggressive, and territorial. I wonder where they learned that from. To be fair, they think the American dog will pretend to like you and then talk about you behind your back. Bless your heart. And the stereotypes of Israelis is that they're rude. God, I don't know if there are any Israelis in Savannah. Israelis are not rude. They're direct. That is the more accurate way to say it. They're honest. They're straightforward. They say what they think, which is really nice. You get used to it. But there are no taboos here. For example, my first Shabbat dinner in this country, I go to dinner at my friend's house, and as I walk in, I scratched the price tag off the bottle of wine because I don't want people knowing I spent 20 shekels. It's like $5. I then realized how ridiculous that was because only in Israel would you hide the fact you spent 20 shekels on a bottle of wine and 10 minutes later reveal your monthly salary, which is also 20 shekels, by the way. So here's the big difference between Americans and Israelis. When we come here, we want to be Israeli. We want to eat the food, speak the language, listen to the music, because we say in English, when in Rome, do as the Romans. Israelis are the opposite. Have you noticed when they go to America, they somehow become more Israeli? It's like, when in Rome, to hell with the Romans. And that is why I always make sure to take my Israeli friends to Las Vegas. Why? Because they will negotiate with the dealers. Yeah, like, give me ace. My uncle's prime minister, give me jack. Yeah, like, come on, let's go. Yeah. But if we think they're rude, they think we are fake and phony. Yeah, because we don't grow up knowing how to express ourselves. The whole, I used to live in Atlanta, the whole bless your heart. And, this is how Americans are telling you the truth when they say things like, listen, Benji, I got to be honest with you. What were you doing all the other times? They think we're too polite. I got an email, and I've been here a long time. I'm starting to get used to things here. Like, I got an email the other day from an American friend of mine. Dear Benji, I hope this email finds you well. Like, who cares how an email finds me? In 10,000 years, no one here would ever start an email like that. Dear Uri, you owe me 40,000 shekel. I hope this email finds you well, because you owe me 40,000 shekel. Yeah. If Israelis are rude, I think Americans are prude. Like, I was on a Zoom call recently and somebody was like, I don't mean to be graphic, but I have to go to the bathroom. How is that graphic? We all do it. Yeah. The Zoom moderator said on this call, I don't even know what people are saying anymore. The moderator's like, all right, guys, we're going to start with some housekeeping and then take a bio break. I'm like, are you in a hotel dissecting a frog? I don't even know what that means. But yeah, I will say this whole thing is going to pass, and tourism is going to open up again. You guys have got to come visit. It's magical here, and the thing is, it's not like it looks on TV. So many people in America, they think it's a war zone or it's a desert. I have friends back at home. They're like, Benji, you live in Israel. Do you ride a camel to school? Like, what are you, an idiot? I'm an adult to ride a camel to work. Come on. Because when you get here for the first time, you're not going to think about conflict. You're not going to think about danger. You're going to look around and be like, oh my God, look at all these Jewish people here. And it's so different. The stereotypes of North American Jews go out the window. It's like, guy driving the bus, Jewish. Guy working at McDonald's, Jewish. My first time here, I got held up at knife point. Jewish criminal. How do I know? He took my wallet and invited me for Shabbat dinner. Oh, is that beautiful? Only in Israel. Well, I'm going to wrap up in just a second. When we're done, I'm happy to take questions, anything you want to know about this place. Before we finish, I just want to thank everyone for, I don't know how many people are there, but thanks for coming out in person, for watching at home. There is no better time than tonight to make a pledge. The Savannah Jewish Federation, I know from my federation in Dallas, my federation in Atlanta, you guys do amazing work, whether it's Jewish Family Services, giving money to people in need financially, emotionally, from the Israel and Overseas Committee. And believe me, living here, I see all the great work you guys do. Give a donation. It is the best thing you could do. When this thing is over, please come to visit Israel. And if you ever have a chance to learn Hebrew from something called Ulpan, you must do it. Someone there, maybe Rabbi Haas did it when he was here at Ulpan. It is intensive Hebrew learning. It is so much fun to do Ulpan as an adult because the teachers speak to you like you're 5 years old. Boker tov yeladim. Good morning, children. Ma shlomchem. How are you? They could say anything and make it sound adorable, even if you have no clue what they're saying. Boker tov. Hayom anachnu osim colonoscopia. Oh yeah, that sounds great. Guys, I'm Benji Lava. Thank you so much for watching tonight. You guys are a blast. If there are any questions at all, any questions you want to know about Israel, the pandemic, Aliyah, anything, I'm here for a few more minutes. All right. Thank you so much. Rabbi Haas, you're the best. I'm going back to sleep, and good night. Thank you, Federation.
All right. Good evening. If you don't know me, but I think I know a lot of people in the room and probably out there on Zoom, I'm Hillary Kronowitz, and I am honored to chair the 2022 Savannah Jewish Federation Women's Campaign. I thought I would take a few moments to share some of the important work Federation has been doing. Especially as we come out of the pandemic, our focus has been on reconnecting people and still is. Engagement is one of our top priorities. We've hired new coordinators to focus on young families, young adults, and older adults. We're bringing back your favorite programs, such as Food for Thought, Shabbat Across Savannah, and Arts and Ideas programming, and we're helping community members put food on their tables and pay their bills through Jewish Family Services. Sorry, I'm definitely making noise with my paper. We're sending Jewish kids to Jewish Overnight Camp, one of the leading forces behind a lifetime of Jewish engagement. We're also innovating. You've seen that the Savannah Jewish News is now the Savannah Jewish Life magazine, bringing us into more modern times with a more modern look. We're moving from a Jewish film festival to a Jewish arts and culture festival, including films and music, comedy, visual art, and more. We're also innovating when it comes to campaign by bringing donors together and focusing on giving levels. We all know and appreciate our Lions of Judah, women who give an annual gift of over $5,000. Many of them didn't start at the Lion level. We've been hard at work figuring out how to bring donors along a philanthropy journey through the Savannah Jewish Federation annual community campaign. This year, tonight, I'd like to introduce the new Savannah Jewish Federation Pearl Society by giving a minimum 2022 campaign gift of just $1 a day or $365 a year. Women will become a part of the Pearl Society and be eligible to get a pearl necklace. They will also be recognized at the Women's Campaign event on Sunday, February 13th, where we'll have renowned author Anita Diamond as our featured speaker. Admittedly, somewhat like this event tonight, but we're very excited about it, and we've got some other programming along with that. We're excited about these campaign updates and hope to bring a new sense of enthusiasm to Jewish philanthropy. It's because of generous donors like all of you that this work is possible and your support is needed now more than ever. Thank you for picking up your phone when we call to ask for your campaign gift if you haven't left your cards here today. And thank you to those who are helping to make those calls to raise those important funds. We really thank you from the bottom of our hearts. I hope you've all had a good evening, and I think Michelle is next. Yay. Here she is.
Hello, and again, welcome. Okay, thank you to Hillary for agreeing to yet again chair the women's campaign, and to Benji and David for agreeing to yet again chair the men's campaign of the 2022 annual campaign. I am so grateful. The community is grateful, and if you have not said yes to something yet in the community, don't, unless you want to be roped in for many, many years. So, I am so glad that you are joining us, whether it is in person or on Zoom. And I promise I will be incredibly brief as long as you promise to pay attention. I have a joke. So, why did the bicycle stop donating? It was too tired. So believe it or not, that is not a Matthew Allen original. That is all mine. Honestly, we are all tired, and we live in uncertain times. We are exhausted. We've been asked to give our time and our money more now than ever before. We've watched businesses and individuals that we care about struggle, and I personally feel like time has been suspended. I don't remember when all of this started. I don't know when things started to get better or to make a turn, but I know that they are. And I've been trying to flesh out this speech for quite a long time. And as recently as this afternoon, I found myself Googling how to write a speech to inspire people to give you money. And I went down a rabbit hole of opinions, and not surprisingly, I was met with a lot of say what the money does and tell a personal story. My personal story is not nearly as meaningful as the personal stories that you have to this organization. Who are you? Where are you from? Why are you here? What is your legacy? And why, of all things to do on a Wednesday night, are you here? It's because you care. Times are changing, and we are adapting and reinventing, and we are redefining, and the Federation has remained a pillar of Jewish life through good times and through the difficult ones. When our community members were isolated in their homes, the Federation delivered meals, not just to provide nourishment, but as a reminder that those individuals were seen, that they were valued, and that they meant something to us. Next week, many of those individuals are going to return to the building when Food for Thought finally resumes to in person. So the phoenix rises, that's what they say. And when the whole world felt like it was on fire, we were a constant. We didn't burn. The Federation embarked on a new journey. The Community Relations Committee is back up and running. And what a critical part of that this committee is going to play for the entire community and for our future. Arts and Ideas programs for adults are coming back, and PGA Library has continuously provided families with books, not only to fill the days, but to make connections as a family and as a community. And now there are multiple community members taking on smaller roles to connect and plan events. And Jamie has been a magician in reconfiguring the Federation in her role as Director of Community Impact. What an amazing impact she has made here in just the few years that she's been here. The difficulty of the past has simply shown that the Federation still exists for us. Every single one of us in this room, there isn't anything in your life that isn't influenced in some way by your connection to Federation, whether you love Israel or you send your kids to Shalom School, your grandkids, you've got a family history being preserved by the Bremen Museum, or you work out in the building, or hell, even if you're here right now because you had to be, but you had a drink and a snack, your tush is sitting on a chair, boom, Federation. It brought you here. Now, I know we're all tired and we're being asked to pull in dozens of directions and we're spread really, really thin. And we're having to allocate not only our time, but our money in new ways. And I get it. But whether that $18 donation that you give means that you alter your grocery list for a week, or the $540 gift is something you can give freely, or that $5,000 gift is something that you plan and you save for. A donation is a donation, and it makes an impact. And when you give, you are part of something that will always be working for you, an organization that will provide education, community, and connection. So I'm not a scholar, but the Talmud states that do not be daunted by the enormity of the world's grief. Do justly now, love mercy now, walk humbly now. You are not obligated to complete the work, but neither are you free to abandon it. You're not asked to start the work. It's already been done for you. But don't let that die. Everything in life requires work. We hear it as children, and we sometimes learn the hard way as adults, and we leave a legacy when we're gone of all the work that we've done. The Federation works for you, and I ask that you don't abandon the work. But as we've also been told, and that we've learned, nothing works for free. So, in the words of the incredible Jeff Lasky, don't give till it hurts. Give till it feels good. Think about the impact that you're not just going to make right now, but what you do now and how that's going to impact the future. Because this needs to stay. There is nothing that feels as good as ensuring something or someone's success. So please fill out your pledge cards. And if you're online, fill out your online thing or come in the building and make a pledge. But know that no matter what you do, the Federation is here for you. If your donation is $18, it is just as meaningful as that $1,800, because we're here for you, no matter who you are. Thank you and have a good night.